Guys, good afternoon. In this video, I am going to discuss about structuralism. As you can see in the screen, the structuralism first emerged in France in the 1950s and then it was imported into Britain in the 1960s. Now, structuralism first was first seen in the works of anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss and the literary critic Ronald Barthes. Now, structuralism believes that things cannot be understood in isolation. They have to be seen in the context of the larger structures they are part of. Hence the term structuralism. That structuralism tries to find out a particular structure within a text or outside the text to determine the meaning of that particular text. Therefore, we can say that structuralism imposes the idea that meaning or the significance isn't a kind of core or essence inside the things. Rather, meaning is always outside. Therefore, in the process of determining the meaning of a literary work, we often refer to another work of that particular author or another work that falls in the same category or in the same genre. Right. Now, the next point is structuralism believes that meanings are attributed to the things by the human mind. It can be said that before the civilization, before the human beings starts to use the language, there are not certain names for certain things or certain creatures or animals. But after the civilization, human beings face the need of a language to express their feelings or to express their thoughts. Therefore, in this course, they ascribe different things to different names. So, in this statement, it is stated that meanings are attributed by the human beings to express their thoughts that they are trying to point out that particular idea or that particular thing or that particular animal. Now, structuralism primarily challenges the idea of a politically detached study of the text. As we know that new criticism believes in the close study of the text. Only they study the text and no other thing outside the text. They believe a close analysis of a particular literary work. But structuralism on the opposite believes that we have to refer to other works in order to understand the meaning. Right, so new criticism enjoined the close study of the text in isolation from all wider structures and context. It was relentlessly text-based and tended to exclude wider questions, abstract ideas and issues. But structuralism has roots on the other things. Like structuralism believes that we have to read several texts beside our main text in order to understand or in order to have a full view of the text, right? So we have to move on the next idea. Now, structuralism is proper roots in the thinking of Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. Now, Saussure, a work of Saussure is much known in the structuralism field, and his work is Course in General Linguistics. The text is considered as a primary or a pioneer in the field of structuralism. But we have a misconception about this work of Saussure, that we think often that Saussure himself wrote this book, but that's not the case. The book Course in General Linguistics actually compiled by Charles Bailey and Albert Siche. They are the students of Saussure. Now they compiled this book from the notes on lectures given by Saussure at the University of Geneva between 1906 and 1911, and then the book was published in 1916 after Saussure's death. As you can see in the screen that Saussure have died in 1913, right? But the book was published in 1916, and the book is generally regarded as the starting point of structural linguistics. Saussure's approach to the language can be summarized in three pronouncements. Firstly, he says that meanings we give to words are purely arbitrary, that words are simply unmotivated signs. There is no inherent connection between a word and what it designates. Let me cite an example. Like we say cat to ascribe that particular animal or to mean that particular animal. But before the use of the language, cat is not named as cat. Through our linguistics practice or through our linguistics use, we name that animal as cat, right? So as you can see that the word cat, 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 does not mean that it have to or it only means to the cat, the animal. So there is no inherent connection between the word cat and the animal, right? Now the second thought that Saussure gave is that he emphasized that the meanings of words are relational. That is to say, no word can be defined in isolation from other words. We often try to determine the meaning of a particular word in reference to other words. Like if we try to understand the concept of or the meaning of heart, then we, in the process of determining the meaning, we often refer to house, and after that mansion, and then palace. Now we try to find out the meaning by finding out the differences between heart and house, and the difference between house and mansion, and the difference between mansion and palace. Now the thirdly, Saussure says that language constitutes our world. It does not just record or label it. The meaning is always attributed to the objects or ideas by the human mind. The human beings do this by constructing and expressing their ideas or their thoughts through language. Now the word cat is not contained within animal. Therefore, we can say that the animal must be called as cat and not something else like dog, right? So it's not contained within the thing. The word cat is not contained the word cat is not contained in that particular animal. We just name the animal as cat, or we just name the animal dog as dog. Now let's have a quick summary over all this we have learned so far. Now Saussure's thinking traced the way that language is arbitrary, relational, and constitutive. This way, if thinking about language greatly influenced the structuralist because it gave them a model of system which is self-contained, in which individual items relate to other items and thus create larger structures. Saussure used the terms langue, parole to signify respectively language as a system of structure on the one hand and any given utterance on that language on the other. Now what is langue and what is parole? Langue is a universal systems or universal rules, right, or any particular utterance in that system can be considered as parole. Like let me cite an example. If you take the novel or if we take any dystopian novel like Etudes, The Handmaid's Tale. Now Handmaid's Tale is dystopian novel, right? So we have to say, or we can say that the novel Handmaid's Tale is a parallel, as it is a particular practice, or it is a specific utterance in the genre of the dystopias, right? There are several dystopian novels, so there are certain rules, or there are certain universal rules to write a dystopian novel. And Etudes' novel The Handmaid's Tale is a particular utterance in that entire genre. Therefore, the novel can be cited or can be called as a parallel, and the systems or the general rules to write a dystopian novel can be said as Lang. Now, Saussure give another concept of sign. He says that the sign composed of two concepts, signifier and the signified. Now, what is signifier? Signifier is the word that by using these kinds of word we often refer to other things, or we express our minds. So the word of anything like the word dog or the word monkey can be called as signifier. And what is signified? Now we often make these mistakes by saying that the signifier is the animal or the object, but no, that's not the case. Signified is the concept behind the word. When we pronounce the word cat, a similar image or a cat suddenly jumps into our mind, right? So just take it in your note that signified is not the object or the animal, but it is the very concept behind the word, right? So I hope that you have understood the concepts so far, and if you are new to my channel, then don't forget to subscribe my channel and please hit the bell icon to get notified. Stay tuned. Okay, all the best.